You're listening to UCW Radio. In your face.
If you try to remember, you will lose. Empty your mind. Be formless, shapeless, like water.
All the fighters that ever set foot on this planet, I'm the only world champion, United States national champion. I'm a two-time national kata champion. I was never beaten in kata. Be proud of it.
The Action Martial Arts Power Hour.
All right, welcome to the Action Martial Arts Power Hour with your host, one of the most recognized Wing Chun masters in the United States today, Sifu Alan Goldberg. Alan, how are you?
Hey, Lil, how are you, buddy?
Pretty good, good. You know,
how you weathering through this whole thing?
Oh my God, just trying to power through, man. Just trying to power through. No power, no internet. It was a bad situation, but good thing we're back. And before we bring on our guest, Alan, I need to make an announcement, you know, because you mentioned that, and I want to make a proper introduction for our guest. You know, as we've been speaking about over the past couple of weeks, the Northeast was ravaged by the horrible Hurricane Sandy, and I urge, me and Alan, we urge all those that can, you know, please make a small donation of either your time or money to the American Red Cross so that they can continue to do what they do best, and that's help. So you can go to redcross.org. I'm sure there's a way you can do it on your cell phone. Whatever you can do to help, that'd be greatly appreciated. Alan, I'm sure you echo that.
100%. Matter of fact, I'm trying right now with Bam Johnson and his wife. We're trying to get together something even at my event. We're going to try to bring the Red Cross in there to do some donations and maybe collect toys and different things and food. So, you know, we're definitely, it's on everybody's mind. I just hope it's on the people's minds. It's not locally around here, because if you saw what we went through here, boy, it's not pretty.
Yeah.
Definitely not pretty.
Yeah. Well, we're not going to let anyone forget that. That's for sure. And look, our guest tonight, he's an amazing individual. He's the first to hold the UFC middleweight championship. He's a four-time undefeated UFC champion. He was ranked number one, pound for pound, in the world during his UFC reign. He was named Fighter of the Decade in the 90s, in 1990, by David Meltzer's Wrestling Observer. Okay, and that's a global publication. He landed, and this is amazing, he landed in the Guinness Book of World Records for the quickest UFC title victory ever against Kevin Jackson. He's a TV commentator for various high-profile fight shows, including Strikeforce. He's an author, and he did all these amazing things while facing some serious adversity. Alan, you know about this. He's been through some stuff, and what I want our listeners to do, please join us in welcoming UFC legend, the one and only Frank Shamrock, to the Power Hour. Welcome, Frank.
Well, thanks, guys. This is quite the intro.
Amazing, amazing, Frank. You're only 21 years old, too. Isn't that amazing?
That's the best part, right?
Yeah. How you doing, buddy? How you been?
I'm really well. It's nice to be with you guys.
Good. Matter of fact, I just got on the phone with a buddy of ours, Chuck Zito, and he's out in New Orleans now doing a new movie that Stallone just wrote. So he wanted to send his regards. He wanted to call in, but he's on set right now.
Oh, nice. Well, good for him. A good friend. I'm glad he's working.
Yeah, he's doing that. Matter of fact, he's on Sons of Anarchy right now, too, and they started to give him some real beefy roles, too, so I'm glad for that also. Well,
yeah,
I know you have something very exciting you're doing now, and I know you're running all over the country. I spoke to you a couple times. You were on a train or a plane or whatever, and you just released your new book. Could you tell us a little more about that?
Yeah, it's, roughly the first 8 years of my life, which has been pretty crazy even before because I became a martial arts champion. But yeah, it just encompasses, my fighting, my time in Japan, and being a young man, and living on the streets, and I came up real rough and spent about 10 years as a ward of the state of California. So I just had a different path that, thankfully ended well.
Well, it's not ended, but thank God you're on the right path.
Yeah. Well, I finally feel like I'm fairly normal now. So I'm just.
Yeah, there you go.
I feel like I've just evened out and become like normal.
But Frank, really, what is normal, really?
Yeah, well, that's my normal.
And you know the truth of the matter. I don't know one martial artist that's normal. Otherwise, we would never be in the martial arts anyway. So, we all get a little kooky somewhere, somehow.
That's true.
So tell us now. The book is out now. It just released about 3-4 weeks ago.
Yeah, well, it's been out, maybe a month or so. I've been everywhere. I've been all over California, and I've also been doing commentary for the Glory Kickboxing series over in Europe. So I've been over there and signing stuff.
Oh, cool.
It's been just wild. I haven't been on the road for a long, long time, and watching all the kids grow up. Everybody's 10 years older. I'm 10 years older. It's been really fulfilling to just kind of go out and connect with everybody.
And where are you located now? You're out in California still, right?
Yeah, I'm out in California. I've never really left. I was born and raised here, and I finally just moved down closer to Los Angeles so I could be in the industry a little bit more.
Okay. Yeah, I know one time you were looking to come to New York, and I know some of my people were trying to help you get located here. But you know something? I think you're better off out there because you really have what you need out there. New York's a rough town.
Yeah, it's too cold out there. I wouldn't have made it.
Yeah.
It's cold out. It froze up. I got the California thing going.
I think so. I think you're better off, definitely. But anyway, so you got this book out now, and I know you retired from fighting, and but I get a feeling somewhere down the road you got a little more in you.
Nah.
How do you feel about that? You don't think so?
No. I did my journey, and for me it was about being the best, and I was very blessed that I could, along my journey, create, an incredible fighting style that was based on athleticism and speed. The problem with that, once your athleticism and speed goes away, the style is just not as fun and functional. So it was great, entertaining, and I whooped everybody up. But that career is behind me, and I'm moving on to my next one, which is being a presenter and a commentator and an actor and an author and a good father that's home quite a bit.
You're evolved.
What styles have you studied over the years?
Well, I started in catch-as-catch-can wrestling, which was submission wrestling back then, and then I trained with Maurice Smith in kickboxing, and then I trained with Oleg Diktarov in sambo, and I trained in jiu-jitsu, and then I trained in boxing, wrestling, more boxing, more kickboxing, some judo, and that was sort of the whole package.
Yeah, I actually saw one day on one of your videos, I don't know, something you had on, I don't know if it was TV or whatever, but one of your training regimens, and I was pretty impressed with it, and I said, well, this guy's got it all going for him, because he's not just doing the typical, kickboxing or boxing regimentation. You're doing a little of everything, which kind of impressed me. You weren't leaving any stone unturned, let's put it that way.
Yeah, I mean, when the sport was evolving, it was necessary to survive. If you were going, you had to be well-rounded, because the guys were too big. I started when there was no weight classes and stuff, so it's like, a guy had 20 pounds on you, to be very efficient in taking him apart, because if he hit you or something, it could really hurt you. I learned real quick, and I also had that kind of martial approach to it, where I was studious. I wrote it down. I was respectful of it, and I looked at it as an art form, and I think that really helped me to learn quickly.
Well, that's what I think a lot of what we're missing right now, and a lot of the mixed martial arts stuff that I see out there. You kind of became a student of all the arts and tried to see what would work for you, and like you said, you wrote it down and you studied it like a regular art. And I see a lot of guys now just coming into the MMA that are not doing that. Yet there are definitely a group of people that are doing that. But I see a lot of guys just they're more like a tough man contest, and they get in there, and they don't last too long because that toughness don't last unless they have some skills.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the martial cloth didn't go very deeply into the culture yet. Part of that's because it got on TV so quickly, and it grew so quickly from being so small that most of the guys that watch it, they don't participate. They just watch it. Yeah. It's interesting. They don't have an appreciation because they don't really go do it. Like the rest of us.
Right. Well, that's always been a little pet peeve of mine. That I see the MMA field is almost like the boxing field. Like 99% of the people that watch boxing weren't boxers, and
right.
I think that's what's changed a lot in the MMA field. That most people are not the MMA or boxer or kickboxer or anything. Unlike the martial art world, when we go to a tournament or you watch something on TV, you're basically most of the people watching are martial artists.
Right.
So I think there's, I mean, when you do your commentary, I think you have to be a little more aware of what you're saying because you're not dealing with an educated audience within the MMA or any martial art field.
Totally. Yeah, I gotta make it palatable for the masses. But you're right. Most people, they don't participate. I think, and that's where I think kickboxing has a huge opportunity again. In the United States because there's so many practitioners of stand-up striking arts.
Right.
But, we just hasn't, for whatever reason, we've had surges of it, but it's never gone mainstream. And I think there's a chance for it because people are kind of getting tired of the homogenous MMA, cage beatdown thing. People are looking for
amazing. It's amazing you say that, too. It's amazing you said that. I've heard a couple other people mention the same thing.
Yeah, everyone, people love it, but it's like, it's the same story. Two guys, mano a mano, what are the rules, throw them aside, whatever it is, get in there, you go for it. But there's got to be good payoff and high excitement. And, kickboxing offers that, boxing offers that, although lengthy, takes a long time to get to that point. So I think the culture of combative sports is going to ebb and flow, but I think it's here to stay. Martial arts is definitely here to stay.
Yeah. I mean, I tell people, I says, if you watch TV, you're going to watch every 15, 16 commercial. There's some martial arts thing involved in it, whether it's an insurance commercial or selling McDonald's or whatever. And, I see that more and more as we go along. And I guess it's just the wave of the future. We're not the guys in the closet anymore that no one wants to talk to,
Yeah. I mean, I think that it's gotten deeper into our culture, and I hope the deeper it gets, the more we get the honor and the respect and the discipline into the culture. So the people know why it's important, even if they're not doing it.
Yeah, that's great. Now, let me ask you, what do you feel was one of your roughest fights and one of your easiest fights?
Well, my easiest fight was fighting Kevin Jackson and setting that Guinness World Record because, his arm felt like it was butter. It never even hit me. And it was just it was ridiculous. My roughest fight was when I fought Phil Baroni, just because I had blown my knee out and I couldn't do any takedowns or anything. So it's the fight of all my career where I took the most damage to my head and my face and everything like that. And I never want to get hit in the head.
Yeah, I think a lot of people would think you're a Kung Lee fight, but I actually don't think that was a fair fight in the sense that you weren't able to do what you really should have been doing because the rules that you agreed upon,
Well, I didn't. I was the only one that agreed on them.
I know.
So that was
I know.
Decided, but
I know.
Yeah,
and I said to me, I said to that, it's just, for the audience, I know Frank for probably about 10, 12 years now, and I said, what is Frank doing? I said, he's giving Kung Lee such an advantage, and unfortunately, he took advantage of that advantage, Yeah. But he kind of knew, because if you watch the fight, you kind of knew that he didn't want to get too close to you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Him and I had sparred so many times, and, by then I was so long in the tooth and interested in other things that I needed something to keep me excited about fighting, and standing up with Kung Lee was awful exciting. He's an awesome martial artist, and he just had a really nice knockout just this past weekend over, Bridge Franklin. Really dramatic.
Oh, yeah.
So I knew what it was, but to me it was for the challenge because that's what got me up out of bed in the morning.
Okay, it's understandable. You look at a lot of fighters out there, and they get into the ring, and sometimes they're not expecting. I think you expected to have a hard fight with him, but the advantage was to him because I don't think he would have accepted the fight any other way, very honestly.
Yeah. Well, he'd have fought whatever, I think. He's a talented guy, but I had it in my mind from day one. I was like, oh, this sounds awesome.
Yeah.
And no matter what, Maurice was like, everybody told me different, but I had to experience it. And I just couldn't believe my arm broke. Like I never, broke anything seriously that, wasn't repairable with ice and, resting and a little rehab. That was pretty hardcore.
Yeah. I actually think, because there's two people that were fighting in that ring, you and him, I think the audience was really at the edge of their seat that whole night because they both knew both of you were such top-notch champions, So,
yeah.
Definitely good.
Yeah, Alan, I just wanted to go off topic for a second, and Frank, if you don't mind, because look, your fighting career, your UFC career, everything you've done, is amazing. It's inspirational, but honestly, I think what I want our listeners to hear is what inspires me about you, and it's not your fighting, it's what you went through as a kid and how you overcame that adversity. And how you became who you are today. Can you share with us, how that developed? I don't want to take away from your book, but I actually want our listeners to really, understand Frank Shamrock, the man, not the fighter, but the man.
Sure. Well, I think that's, what the book really is about is my journey into sort of growing up. We talked about it's kind of funny being normal, but, I struggled my whole life to just fit in and do anything. So, when martial arts came along and gave me the chance to kind of, find a path, I jumped on it. And learning to be a man was one of the hardest things, I think, about the whole journey, dealing with fame and money and fighting and everything that comes with it. But that's what I talk about in the book is my honest journey. And, the things I did wrong, because I read everybody's book. I was that kid who was stuck in books and who didn't have any confidence and couldn't talk to nobody, and I was traumatized from my abuse, and I was all jacked up. So, I lived in books, and the books were my characters. So I read everybody's book, thousands of books, but I never read the book about the guy that really made it and was honest about it and laid it all on the line. And I was waiting to read that book, and I realized I was writing that book right about the end of my book.
Wow.
That's amazing stuff, And again, I do urge people to actually go get your book. Just to learn about how you went from a kid and as you said, dealing with abuse and growing up and finding martial arts and finding yourself and becoming who you are right now, and you're still evolving as a person. I think it's an amazing thing, and I'm sure that with what you've been through in your background, you actually have an understanding of what's happening now with kids and bullying more than most people.
Yeah, totally. It's really sad, but it just comes from our whole society's kind of been demoralized. And it's coming out through our kids. I feel, and technology's just made it worse. It's made it faceless and accessible and permanent. So before you could stand up to the bully, and now you can't even get to him. He hides behind a machine. So our kids are in a tough position. Adults are strained and stressed. They're not home, and kids are growing up online with technology. It allows them to be anonymous and throw bombs that they have no responsibility for. So it's just scary where kids are going. That's why I encourage them to stay in the gym. Get yourself a strong community. So that stuff, they're just words and they do hurt. But if you're making yourself strong and you're taking care of your community and your spirit, they're just going to bounce off and move on.
The social media has enabled cowards to come out in the masses. And it is a shame, no doubt about it.
Yeah, you can be strong against it, but it comes from training. It doesn't come from sitting around, doing nothing.
And then you heard it right there from Frank Shamrock himself. Now, Alan, I'll let you get back into the martial arts, and I just wanted to touch on that because I think that was important.
Okay, great. Well, Frank, I know you're running around to a lot of states doing with your book now and stuff. I know you told me this year you're going to come back into our event again. We're all excited you're coming back. We got a lot of your friends are waiting for you to be there, and we got some great new people, great new projects we're doing. We actually we're signed on an MMA amateur fights we have this year. We have quite a lot of new things since you were there last. And I do have to say, my boy Frank knows how to party with us. We all had a great time when you were there. The couple of years you were there with us. So,
oh yeah, it was very memorable. I'm definitely looking forward to this next year.
Extremely. But you know what I plan now? I have on Friday nights, which usually Friday nights everyone just hung out near the bar or the restaurant. But I put a wine and cheese party together with a band or music inside, the DJ, and we're doing it for 2 years now, and it's great because literally your fans can come over and sit down with you and have a drink instead of being at a dinner. And
nice.
it worked out so good, man. I mean, we did it 2 years. The third year, we're opening up a little bigger. Last year, we had over 500 people show up just to the wine and cheese party, and it was wild. And we had our buddy Gary Tagawa was actually on the tables dancing. We had to pull him off the tables.
That's a scary thought.
But, you know, it's a funny thing at my event. I think everyone lets their hair get down because they realize they're around friends, and it's not a matter of, you know, showing off or being, you know, someone you're not for the public and stuff. So, you know, it turns out to be a good time for everyone except myself because I got to work the damn thing. But, you know, I actually hear the legends and the stories after the event is over. Come people over, my guy Manny comes over to me. Yeah, Frank, we were in the bar and we had a great time. And oh, yeah. We won't talk about the money yet. Yeah, but anyway. So now let me ask you, how did you get involved with martial arts? Where was the first inkling that you even think you wanted to get involved?
Well, my mom took me when I was like 7 or 8 or something like that to the YMCA Center, and I liked it, but I just didn't have the attention span to hang around. And then the next experience, so that was maybe 3 days of stretching and standing my horse stance and my, you know, my jacket. And then my next experience was when I was 22, and I just wanted to live with my dad rent-free out of prison, and he was like, yeah, that's great if you have a job. So the only job was picking grapes and my brother's submission wrestling, you know, class, which, you know, they were searching for professional submission wrestlers to go to Japan, and I was like, yeah, I'm in. I don't want to pick grapes. So, and that, you know, I never left. I never left for 16 years. Cool.
Well, you know, you made yourself a career. I think you did. You know, I actually watched some of your contacts. I was sitting behind you. One of your commentaries were in Ohio together with me and Chuck were there. And, you know, you're very accomplished in what you're doing there, too. So that's, you know, a great thing for your next move, even. I mean, I don't know if you'll do that your whole life, but it's definitely a way to make a little bit of a living and move forward to other expansions. Like, look where our buddy Chuck is right now. He's doing a major movie right now. And I'd love to see you get involved with things like that, because I think you'll be a good, maybe a bad guy character. I don't know. We'll have to see.
You know, I go. Just depends on what they cast me. But yeah, I love that. I like being all the time. Yeah.
Have you seen Chuck on this? Have you seen Chuck on Sons of Anarchy yet?
I've seen him a little bit on stuff, but I haven't been able to sit down and watch it.
Yeah, actually, the first couple of shows, they just gave him some, you know, like they showed his face a few times. But I think they were building the character. As he was just saying, he goes, they didn't really know what to do with him at first. But the last 2 weeks, he's had some very beefy roles. And actually, the funny thing about it, he's been noticed by other people being on the show. So it's, you know, you're doing
perfect.
Yeah, and you're doing what you're doing now, so that's also just a segue to get yourself involved in other things now. Have you done any movies or anything like that?
I've done about 3 or 4 movies, and then we're actually taking the story of the book and turning it into a film right now. So we've started on the script of that, and yeah, I mean, I like being an entertainer, and I like, you know, presenting martial arts. So my plan is just to keep doing it until they kick me out, and then I'll figure out what to do after that.
I don't think they're going to kick you out.
Let's hope not.
That'd be one hell of a boot to kick you out.
I do have to tell the audience one quick story. I'll make it very, very gentle as I say it. We were at the event, and Frank was at the event. I think we had a private party room on the first floor in one of the nightclubs there. And Frank was there, Dan Severn, Joe Louis, Bill Wallace. I mean, the room was filled with some of the world champions in one room. And it got a little rowdy, to say the least. Nothing bad, but it got a little rowdy. And I never forget the face. These two bouncers run into the room, and they're a little boisterous at first to say, "What the hell's going on here?" Whatever. And they would come face to face with Frank Shamrock. He was standing right in the front door. And these guys looked, and of course, most of these guys are the bouncers, have some type of martial art experience or fans of it at least, you know. And I never saw two guys, and they probably were had at least 40, 50 pounds in each guy. But I never saw two guys with nowhere to put their heads. They realized who was in the room besides what was in this room.
Oh, we get pretty rowdy at those parties.
I didn't want to say that, but it was good. It was all good fun. It was all good fun. I do remember that my buddy Frank was kicking some glass bottles across the room trying to get a goal post that night. But anyway.
I wasn't on the table, though. I wasn't on the table.
No, you weren't. That's everything I was role. And it's amazing the hotel still lets me back of it. All the craziness that goes on. But they love us. And I think when we spend enough money there, they'll take some of the abuse we wind up putting into the hotel. But no one gets hurt. Nobody's no damage or anything. It's just a lot of good old boys fun. Let's put it that way, you know. So, now the event this year is January 25th, 26th, and I hope to get you in there a day early because we do a plan. We bring all the celebrities out. We have a private dinner with 20, 30 celebrities, and we've done it. That last year was the first time we did that. It was a lot of fun. I mean, we just said, everyone let their head down, except for me. I have no hair, but anyway. But everyone was able to talk about what they wanted to do in their life, and they just over food and drink, and they enjoyed it. So I hope you're able to get in a little early this year also. And
yeah, me too.
We'll see. Yeah, we're gonna have a lot of fun. I have matter of fact, what's happening lately, and I've said it a couple of times on the show before. The event has gotten so big in its own right that I'm getting noticed by outside martial art people. I'm getting noticed by people that are actors that are martial artists also. And we've got contacted by Martin Cove, who was on the show a couple of weeks ago. He was the one from the Karate Kid, and he was in the Rambo movies. He became part of the family. Michael J. White, of course, who is a martial art, but he's like one of our regulars now. We had this year we have Kevin Sorbo from Hercules. We have Adrian Paul from Highlander coming in. We had Jimmy Superfly Snooker coming in again. I spoke to his wife the other day. So we have people from all over every part of the industry, which is a combative industry, that's coming into it, and it just makes it more fun for the fans that come in, And it's nice for us too, because we get to talk to people that we never might have had a chance to talk to before.
It's a good time.
So, anyway, you're going to be coming in, and you're going to be bringing your books. We're going to actually put a release out. I know you wanted me to speak to your publicist about that also. And we're going to try to get a big push to let people know that your book is coming out and it'll be at the event, so on and so forth. And, we'll go from there. We'll have a good time.
I love it. Bring my jacket.
Bring your jacket because it is cold now.
Yeah, just a little bit. Just a little bit.
Yeah, we were lucky. We had no damage at the Tropicana during the storm, so a lot of other people are pretty well devastated on the coast, but we were very, very lucky. So I keep getting calls and emails all the time about the event. Is it going to go on, not go on? But we're in full swing. We're in 100% already, so we're ready to go. We got any callers? What's it?
Huh?
Excuse me?
No, we're gonna hold off. We're gonna hold off for the callers till after the break. But Frank, I did have a question for you. When with your can you tell us a little bit about your school over there? You have a dojo. You're training people. You have a fitness regimen or something, that family type of regimen that you have over there?
Oh, yeah. Well, I got a ton of martial programs, but mostly hit right now. Honestly, I'm just taking care of my own spine because I've messed it up so much from all this fighting and falling on my head and whatnot that I just have a kind of a therapy routine. It takes about an hour each day, which is kind of in my focus. When I stand on mats now, my spine gets all crazy, so I have to avoid mats.
Ooh. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to share
spine.
that?
Yeah. Apparently I have the
share that
spine of a 60-year-old man. Yeah.
That's what I was told myself too. So I think we need to talk off air about this stuff.
Yeah.
You know.
So, but yeah, now, I still take care of my martial arts training, and right now I'm still studying boxing and the angles of boxing and elbows because for some reason that fascinates me.
Oh yeah, we had a good buddy of ours comes to the event now, Ray Mercer, the old champion, and he very interesting character too. I think you'd like it. I don't know if you ever met him personally, but interesting character, real good guy.
Yeah. And what we're gonna do, guys, we're gonna take a quick break, and Frank, you have to get prepared for this because we're gonna be bringing on Alan's co-host. I call him Wikipedia Joe. Okay, and he's going to probably fire out a whole bunch of facts and figures at you, and he's going to make it very interesting the second half of the show. So I want you guys just to hang on, and we're going to be back with Frank Shamrock, UFC legend.
Audience, say it with me. Legendary. It's going to be 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 legendary.
The Ultimate Martial Art Experience, Action Martial Arts Magazine Hall of Fame, January 25th and 26th this year. Don't miss it. Bigger and better than ever. More stars, more people, bigger rooms. We're expanding everything. Friday night parties, seminars, so be there. You need to call me, 718-856-8070, and I'll tell you more.
What the hell does
Audience, say it with me. Legendary. It's gonna be legendary. It's gonna be legendary. It's gonna be legendary. It's going to be legendary.
The ultimate martial art experience. Action Martial Arts Magazine Hall of Fame. January 25th and 26th this year. Don't miss it. Bigger and better than ever. More stars, more people, bigger rooms. We're expanding everything. Friday night parties, seminars. So be there. You need to call me, 718-856-8070, and I'll tell you more.
All right, welcome back to the Action Martial Arts Power Hour. We're here with your host, Wing Chun Master. He is legendary within the world of martial arts, Alan Goldberg, and we have, without a doubt, a UFC legend, and Frank Shamrock. We're happy to have him on the show, and we also are bringing on the guest co-host for the second part of the show. I call him Wikipedia Joe. He's going to have a whole bunch of stuff to throw out at Frank, so let's welcome everyone to the show. All right. Hey, Alan, you there? Everyone there?
I'm here if everybody else is there.
All right, everyone's here. We have the party line. All right,
fantastic.
So Wikipedia Joe, you have Frank on the line.
Well, first of all, I have to be real careful. Most people know me as Kenpo Joe. I got to worry about that official notice I might get from Wikipedia one day about that particular name. But
okay. Don't worry about it.
Don't
worry about it. You're good. I got your back. Don't worry.
Well, again, may I call you Frank if you don't mind?
Sure.
Fantastic. Well, again, I got several questions. The first one, everybody's talking about the UFC. I want to talk about Pancras, okay? I mean, way back when, I interviewed a young man by the name of Jason DeLucia, who was originally fought Royce Gracie in UFC 1 and 2 and then got associated with the Lions Den and the Pancras organization. And I went to interview him for my television program locally, and he had this little list that he had of all the techniques he was going to go over. And I looked and I went, oh, Kesekatame, and he looked over at me and said, you know what that is? I was like, yeah, this scarf hold. He's like, how do you know that? I said, Jason, it's like basic judo holds and stuff. It's just the same terminology. And I was really impressed with Pancras at that time, and I actually sent one of my students to go train with Jason because he was the only person in the area doing the Lions Den material. And I wanted to ask you, you know, again, you talk about the Japanese submission grappling. Who are some of the people that you remember that you had your toughest bouts with? Because I had the pleasure of watching some of your matches, and they were incredible. And for those of you who don't know what Pancras is, you know, to see, again, no closed fist punches to the face, open hand slaps, and watching this promo tape and watching people get hit with spinning back hands and being knocked out is just a joy to behold. So tell me, who are some of the people that you dealt with, that you had your toughest matches over the years in the Pancras organization?
Well, in Pancras, Funaki was my toughest matches. He was so technical. Suzuki was the same. They were so technical and fast and had a advanced understanding of the grappling moves. But I really enjoyed the game. And then, of course, fighting Boss. But Boss was just a very physical, you know, damaging type, you know, match. The other guys were much more technical.
Well, again, like many people are familiar with Bas Rutten now, not only through his MMA career, of course, with being featured in a new film, Here Comes the Boom, with Kevin Jean. But, I mean, to watch that, have you seen the film, first of all? And for our audience, I watched it and I went, that's not acting, that's just him being him. But please, have you seen the film?
I haven't seen it, but I know Bas, and yeah, if somebody cast him in his role and let him be himself, he would be perfect for television and film, because he's a crazy character. He's that guy in real life.
Now, earlier in the program, you mentioned about your family, and most people don't realize that actually Ken and yourself are actually both adopted by Mr. Shamrock, and we should clarify that a little bit. And also, wanted to find out a little more information of what it was like in the early days when you first started working on the Japanese submission and Pancras style of hybrid wrestling.
In the early days, it was tough because I was living in Japan and nobody spoke English, so they were just kind of, you know, ritualistically doing things. And then the older guys like Funaki and Suzuki and Fouquet would come in, and they would teach, but they didn't speak English, so it was very bizarre. But I took notes and drew diagrams, and that really helped the learning process.
Wow! So there was no one to translate into English for you in the dojo?
No.
Wow.
No, they didn't. It was pretty crazy, yeah. And after a while, it was like going crazy because you just train 6 days a week, and no one speaks any English, and it's like a bizarre, different world.
Now, again, if you can you compare and contrast for our audience the Pancras hybrid wrestling style as opposed to what you worked through in, again, UFC and Strikeforce?
Well, yeah, I mean, the UFC and the Strikeforce and no holds barred, that's all, close-fisted and, basically one fall, as we would call it, or, winner takes all. Because when you had the Pancras style, you could grab the ropes, there was different points involved, so it became much more of an involved athletic kind of game, because if you were smart, you could stretch the game out and make it a long fight, which Japanese guys were very smart at doing that.
Now, again, we were also talking about when I had spoken to Jason in the past, and I was very fortunate that my student was accepted to train with him, and eventually was accepted into the stable, into the hybrid wrestling system. And the average person doesn't realize how devastatingly brutal these workouts are. I would see if there were 10 people in the class, everybody did 100 jumping jacks each. It was 1,000 jumping jacks. If it was 20 people, guess what? You did 2,000 jumping jacks. It was just the high amount of cardio. What were your memories of the cardio training in Japan?
Well, it was mostly muscular conditioning / cardio. They didn't really get the advanced cardiovascular training that I learned later with Maurice and in other sports, but yeah, just long-term ritualistic conditioning, which came down from the Carl Gotch era. Where you if you do it enough times, then you'll always be able to do it when you need to do it, and you'll never quit, which is kind of the mentality. But yeah, it was cool. I mean, I've done 1,000 squats in one setting, 700 push-ups. It's crazy when you start thinking about the amount of repetitions you're doing, but that's old martial arts. 1,000 side kicks, and side kick gets pretty good.
Well, I do have to interject 1 second here. Frank has his other career that he's taking care of now, which is his beautiful 5-year-old daughter, and I knew in about 5 minutes Frank's got to leave and pick her up from school. So we do have to cut a few more minutes, and but we do have to let Frank go in a little while. So just want to throw
thanks, Alan. Yeah, I got my princess.
Sure. Let me. I just want to ask one last question, and I'll leave you be. And I really appreciate you taking the time. Again, I had mentioned about Jason DeLucia, who's I'm from Massachusetts, and he's a local person who's running a new organization called Hybrid Wrestling and whatnot, hybrid fighting. But at one point, you were both members of the Lion Den, and there was a rule in the Lion's Den that obviously a member of the stable didn't fight the other member of the stable. And at one point, he wanted to become champion. In order to do that, he had to fight you. What do you remember about that time?
Well, I never fought Jason.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I fought Vernon.
Oh,
Yeah, Vernon and I were the only two guys from the Lions Den that, fought each other, and it was sort of an early Japanese experiment. They were like, well, we're going to make them fight and see what happens. And I think that was the end of the experiment. But I never got to fight Jason. Jason and I were pretty close. He was a really strong martial artist and a good kung fu guy. Really good 5-animal kung fu and kung fu guy. So it was,
look at that, Frank.
pretty cool.
You became an urban legend.
Yeah, right? You can't beat it, Can't beat it.
Yeah.
But, yeah, he's a good guy.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me. And the last thing I'm asking for is hopefully I get an autographed copy of the book when I see you in January. And looking forward to meeting you.
Yeah, I look forward to it. So thanks a lot.
And Frank, before you go, if you could share with our listeners how they can get your book, how they can find out more about you, because while we're here, so that, they can buy your book and support what you're doing.
Sure. You can learn all about me at frankshamrock.com, or I'm all over social media at Frank Shamrock, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, all that stuff. I'm all over the place. But reach out to me. I'd love to take you on the journey with me.
Yeah, there you go. And you're on an amazing journey. Frank, thank you so much for taking time out of your hectic schedule to be with us today. I know it was a stretch. You got to go pick up your daughter and everything. But, Alan and I, we do appreciate it. And, hopefully we'll have you back on as things progress with you. But we're definitely going to see you in January.
I'll see you guys then. I look forward to it.
All right, Frank, buddy. I'll give you a call during the week, and we'll make some plans. All right?
All right. Thanks, guys. All right. Bye-bye.
All right, buddy. Be good. God bless you. God bless.
All right, Alan. Now,
yes, sir.
It was great to have Frank Shamrock on the show. He gave us a little glimpse into what he's doing. He's definitely a great personality. And as Kung Lee has made his way into film, I'm sure that Frank Shamrock's going to do the same thing. Because he is a personality, as you know, within himself, okay? And I'm sure we're going to have some stories to share. But let's take this time, since, we have about another 15 minutes. Let's talk about what's going on in January. We always jam about it during the show. But let's get a little more in depth, because I think we want our listeners to really get a flavor of what they will experience coming to the Tropicana Casino in New Jersey, in Atlantic City, January 25th and 26th.
Well, I do have to say for the listening audiences, please realize it's an open event. If people want to come, they want to come to the banquet, they want to come to the trade show. We have two different tournaments. We have a regular martial art point tournament. We have a new thing called MMA point contest, which is going to be very interesting. Bam Johnson's taking care of that this year. We have business seminars going on with NAPA coming in. We literally have almost 8 different events going on at one time. So it's open to the public. The fees to come in is $39 for 2 days to come in to the trade show. Over 90 vendors. We have over 50 free, I said again, free seminars. And $39 covers you for 2 days, seminars and everything else you want to come in and enjoy. And all my celebrities will be there. They just, it's a very open event that people want to come and just enjoy themselves. So even the celebrities come down. They're not coming in just for the fact that they're doing autograph signing. They're coming in because they really want to have a good time with the public. And that's what the magic of the event is.
And I have to add on to this that with the seminars, and what I want our listeners to really understand is that, to have a seminar, with someone like Frank Shamrock, Michael J., Orlando Rivera, all these legends, in the world of martial arts, you'd have to pay a hell of a lot of money for them to show you what you're going to see at this event. So for 2 days, $39, you said? That's a steal. That's a steal.
It's funny. I wish I kept the guy's name and number, but I remember one guy, we had done it. We had to move out of one room to another room, and the quarters were a little small. It was about, I'd say about a third of the size at the time. Now we're back in the big room again, thank God. But the guy complained. He said, I had to pay $39 to come in and do this stuff. And I looked at the guy and I said, you just came from 6 seminars with Joe Louis, Bill Wallace, Don the Dragon, so-and-so. I said, and you're complaining about $39? I mean, we're not even talking about, it's not about the money even. But you had the time to spend with these guys, and that's what you complain about. So, it's a funny thing. But I do want to, retell the audience again, it's an open event for anyone. Don't feel that there are any cliques or anything else. Here's a better one. Come and be part of our clique. The Action Martial Art Clique, meaning that it's open to everyone. You want to be part of what we do, come on down and enjoy yourself. Because, I don't, but again, everyone else does. As a matter of fact, today I spoke to Shorty Carter on the line, and he was telling me, I can't wait for the event. And this is where celebrities can't wait to come down. I had the pleasure this weekend. I flew out to Arizona. I was there with Cynthia Rothrock, Bill Wallace, Hank Garrett, Stephen Hayes. And ironically, this wasn't my event, but my event was brought up about 30 times during the night on stage because everyone that was there enjoyed the event so much for themselves, just to be part of it. So, again, it's open to the audience.
Well, your event, Alan, I've been going there on and off for over a decade. I know you for a long time. Your event that you do honestly, it's not like any other event out there. Beyond the world of martial arts, because I don't know of any other place. People, you see the Oscars on TV, you see the Emmys, all this stuff. Yeah, great, you see all this stuff on TV, but how often can you walk into a room and walk down and shake the hand of a celebrity, someone that you admire, take a picture with them, then go see and learn something from them? Where does that happen?
Not too often. Matter of fact,
No.
Hank Garrett and I were talking this weekend, and Hank said to me, Alan, do you realize your event, your banquet, is bigger than the Golden Globes? I said, that's a nice thing. I can't compare myself to the Golden Globes, but yeah, we're a pretty big event in that mannerism. So, we're expecting a lot of new people coming through the door. Matter of fact, this is Joe.
Sir, still here.
It's going to be his first year in, and I think he'll be pretty much amazed what he sees and does. And being Joe, he'll pick up every piece of information out of that place before he walks out of it.
Oh, my God. Wikipedia Joe in action. He's going to be acquiring him all the information he can. And, we're also going to be doing I'll be doing a show there. I may even do a live show there. I don't know. But we're definitely going to have a show going on there. We're going to be interviewing a lot of the celebrities there and a lot of the notables, so on and so forth. And I think that, anyone that's listening, if you haven't experienced being in an environment where you have so many notables, so many celebrities, you have pretty much every top martial artist in the world there. If you haven't experienced anything like that, then you haven't experienced too much as far as going to an event of this magnitude.
Joe,
Alan,
anything to add, Joe? We want to talk to you a little bit because we don't want you to stand
I'll
here
tell you, I've been very fortunate that some of my instructors have been featured as instructors at the seminars, and they've literally had wall-to-wall people, and it's amazing the amount of people that show up for this event. It's really, this is something I said years ago. Someone said to me about the Martial Arts Halls of Fame when more of them were becoming more popular, and they said, well, what do you feel are the most reputable ones? I said, the ones run by magazines. And that's so. And Action Martial Arts Magazine is that. It is originally from a martial arts magazine. Matter of fact, the other day I found the issue 1 that I picked up in New York one day, way back when it was just a newspaper, red-colored cover with Professor V and David James way back in the day. And, one of the things I'm hoping to when I get down there is to possibly complete my collection and see what issues I'm missing and just try to pick up things as a collector, as a historian. And there have been so many great articles and so many great people. Like I said, Mark Shui from Cane Masters is someone I've been associated with in the past, and Professor Kimo Ferreira came in from Hawaii one year. And,
well, actually, I just spoke to Kimo the other day, believe it or not.
He was telling me that. I literally just talked to him day before yesterday. And he mentioned yesterday, the day before yesterday, he mentioned about your phone call. But, and, he would like to attend, but it's, and people have traveled from all over the world for this event. And that's what people don't realize. They don't realize the vast diversity of the people who have been inducted into the Hall of Fame or have come in to attend the various seminars. When you mention about the cost of the seminars, all I can think of is that classic phrase, what a bargain. People don't understand. I mean, myself, I've paid $80, $100, $150, $200 for some of these seminars with some of these individuals over the years. And to have the opportunity to work with so many of them in so many diverse fields is such a rare opportunity.
And Joe, I'm going to interject for a second because I just want to expand on your thought when you said people all over the world come to the event, and those aren't just words. Our listeners need to understand that I've witnessed, people from Russia come down, and they, from Korea, from Japan, from other parts of the world, from London, from other parts of Europe, come down every year, come down and be a part of this. I'm going to call it a family event. It's a family atmosphere because on that day everybody's family. And that's the way it is, and you definitely want to be a part of it. And I don't think that, I think I'm minimizing the actual the event, only because I think, and you can agree or disagree with me, Alan. When someone goes there, I can't even describe how it's going to be, because you'll be talking about it at dinner with your family, saying, "Wow, I can't believe I met this one, or I've done this, or I learned this. I never thought." And that's my view anyway.
Yeah, well, the great thing about it is, again, we do have this year 22 countries coming in, and believe it, I don't doubt that we're going to have another 3-4 new countries signing up before the event. But when the people, they come in, I mean, they may look at the martial arts as, a family in themselves, but when they come to the event, they really realize what it is. Again, I was at an event this weekend, Grandmaster John Pellegrini, very, very gracious gentleman. Matter of fact, Mr. Mark Shuey was there also. Dana Abbott was there. Mr. Melagrito was there. So there were some other great guys, all, Black Belt Magazine Hall of Famers also. And we just had a great time hanging out. But I realized a lot of what we put together at an event like that all came from what we put together with the Action Martial Art event, because we became friends at that event and realized that it wasn't a matter of ego. There was no matter of who was bigger or better than anyone else. And I was so happy. I saw Stephen Hayes there, which I didn't know was coming at first. And he's such a pleasant gentleman that when you meet people like this, the audience that they're seasoned in magazines, when you meet them, they realize they're just like you, and they're as excited to meet you as you are to them. So it was a great feeling, even being at someone else's event. Besides, I didn't have to work this weekend, which was nice.
That's a rarity. And you know what, Alan? I'm gonna do something. I may embarrass you a little bit, but I think it's necessary, because look, I talked about Frank Shamrock and how inspirational he was with how he built up his brand. He built his brand up. But you've done the same thing. You developed a trade industry. We use the terminology rag. You built up from that to generating and building a magazine, but also launching an event which was slim in the beginning, but every year got better and better and better. And you work tirelessly, even today, to make sure that the event is spectacular. And it's not about your ego; it's about you doing it for the people. And just that growth, especially in this economy now, with what's happening in America, you're a prime example of having intestinal fortitude to go and continuing to build what you're doing. And if every small business out there was to do the same thing, I think we would regain our strength in America.
There you go.
I didn't hear you. Could you repeat that all again?
I don't think I can.
Interject one last thing?
Yeah, sure.
You can inject two things.
One of the things I really want to mention about this, and again with the recent passing of Joe Louis, in the last 20 years I've lost 9 of my instructors, and it's so important to every martial artist within the sound of my voice. You're not going to get this amount of masters and grandmasters and instructors in one place. And there's a classic phrase that someone once asked me when Mr. Parker would travel throughout New England, they'd be like, "Why do you go to all of his seminars?" And the person said to me, "Well, they always teach us the same thing." And I said, "No, he doesn't, first of all." And I said, "Second of all, there's a great phrase from the rock opera Jesus Christ Superstar." And at one point, Jesus looked at the apostles and he said, "Hey, move while you still see me, because you'll be so sorry when I'm gone." And now these people have this opportunity to work with all these different masters and grandmasters in one place, and to meet many people that they might have only seen through a magazine or on film or read about, and never had the opportunity to actually physically meet them, to speak with them, to interrelate with them, to train with them and work out with them. And this really is the opportunity of a lifetime. So, for anyone who's listening, it's a rare opportunity to take advantage of it while it's there.
Without a doubt. And Alan, can we go through the roster, because we have some time, of who the featured guests are going to be?
Okay, one more time. Here we go.
There's more. There's more than what you mentioned. You have more.
Yes, there's more.
I'm going to add on to that if you don't do it.
Yeah, we have Martin Cole from the Karate Kid. We have Ray Mercer coming in, James Liu, Phil Morris from Seinfeld, Carrie Tagawa, Cynthia Rothrock, Christine Bannon, Michael J. White, Dan Severin, Frank Shamrock, of course, Don the Dragon Wilson, Chuck Zito. We have Kevin Sorbo. We're looking at some wrestlers right now. I just spoke to Jimmy the Superstar Snooker is coming back in. And every time I turn around, there's someone new, a person calling me, and it's not, people have to realize something. I don't go after these people to come to the event. I have enough of these people to make the event the way it is right now. But when I have a person who's talented that people want to see to come in, I always make it my way to try to get these people in if they want to be there. So every year, I gain 2-3 new people in the family, if you want to say, and it's exciting. It's very exciting. So,
let me add on to the names there. You have Shoney Carter that's going to be there.
Yeah.
Orlando the Warrior Rivera that's going to be there. You said Stephen Hayes is going to be there.
Right.
Who else?
Duncan.
I mean, yeah, Ronald Duncan's going to be there. I don't have a list in front of me, but I mean, there's just the amount of people. It kind of blows my mind, and of course, we're going to be missing, a staple in Joe Louis, but he's still going to be there. And
we're going to have a couple of minutes of silence for Joe this year because, I was with Bill Wallace this week. I have to still tell you, when you get together and talk about Joe, you see everyone did the somber, emotion of what emotions of what have happened, but missing our buddy, So.
Yeah. Well, he's brought a lot to the event. He's brought a lot to the world. He left a mark that can never be erased. And I believe that the next generation, they're going to look at someone like that where he accomplished so much, but he was so humble. People don't understand how humble he was because he could have been where Chuck Norris is today.
Right.
It was his choice.
Right.
It was his choice.
Yeah.
Okay.
And something to the audience. I know a lot of the people that listen on are in their 40s and 50 years old and above. And it's funny because I've been approached by some other people saying to me, well, why don't you get some young blood, some of the new world champions and so on and so forth. And I go, well, the truth of the matter is, I said, the attitude some of the new champions have is not the attitude we want. Right. We want to be able to focus and showcase these people. A guy like Hank Garrett, 71 years old. He was a wrestling champion. He's done judo. He's done a million things. He's a guy that, God bless him. I hope he's around 100 years, but we never know. And a guy like Jeff Smith, who was a world champion with Bill Wallace and Joe Louis, and, he's also getting in age, and we want people to meet guys like that. So to bring young guys in because they're talented, I'm not going to argue, but we will be able to see them for a long time. We really have to participate and be part of the senior guys that are out there. If you want to say the dinosaurs, I hate to say that, but I'm one of the dinosaurs too, so I fit right in myself.
Well,
bring up that point with Joe Louis. Sadly, he was one of the individuals that I never got to meet. For all my training, and a gentleman, Walt Lysak from Massachusetts, who would bring him in every year. I had spoken to him a couple times on the phone, but never had the honor and privilege of meeting him. So this is exactly what we're talking about. Jump on it while it's available and meet and work with these people.
And I'll add on to that. At the last event that Joe was at, Alan, when he made fun of us because you and I were wearing suits. I wanted to go talk to them. I didn't have the chance to go spend some time with them, and I regret that because I was busy doing other things. Because that was the last time that I actually saw him. And cause, he didn't come the year after, and then he passed. So for those martial artists out there, take the opportunity. Meet these legends in the world of martial arts because you may not have that opportunity in a year, 2 years, 3 years, whenever it may be. Because look, the Action Martial Arts Hall of Honors, that is the only place that you can actually find all these guys in one shot, and it's fantastic. And I think you're doing a beautiful thing, Alan.
Exactly.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it, and I enjoy it, so that's why I do it. So it's a great feeling to bring all these people together. And that's I tell you, I do my Thursday night party now, which I never did before. I did one last year, and I brought all the celebrities in a day early. And more or less, they're not rushed when they come on Friday. But we just had such a good time sitting at the table talking and you know, eating and drinking. And, man, I tell you, this year I have to actually put a camera at the table and film it all. Because we had such a good time just laughing and stuff. It was amazing.
Are you going to get Oak Tree drunk again?
Oh, yeah, of course. One thing I have to say about Joe Louis, too, you know, Joe had had taken our event in as such a warm feeling for himself. And he would push my event like no one else ever did. Because he'd get around the room and he did something. He used to complain. He says, all these other guys are sitting on stage. He goes, watch me what I'm doing. And that sounds like Joe. He'd walk around the room and literally went to every table in the room and say hello to people. And that's because Joe enjoyed it. He realized that, you know, these people wanted to meet him also, but some of them were afraid to even come up to him. So, you know, I always appreciated that with Joe, and we miss him dearly. And, you know, never forget some of the memories, that's for sure.
Yeah, well, I think everyone's going to, you know, be reminiscing in January. But, Alan, before we end the show, I want our listeners to also know that your contribution to the world of martial arts beyond what you're doing, that you sit on a prestigious board for really a huge event in March in Ohio. You know, can you let us know a little bit about that?
Yeah, I was very fortunate. I'm actually the only martial artist in the group. I was taken in by, it's called the International Sports Hall of Fame, which encompasses 67 sports throughout the world. And Dr. Goldman and actually Arnold Schwarzenegger had put this together. And when I looked at the list of the people that were on the board beside me, I was the only one that wasn't a doctor besides Arnold. Everyone was a real doctor. And, you know, my pet peeve about doctors, but these guys were all doctors and PhDs.
Real doctors.
Yeah, the real deal. And, you know, I got on the board with these guys, and I literally felt funny. I mean, but what I realized was that I was the so-called expert of martial arts that they wanted to bring on. They actually were very, very diligent about, you know, certain things and telling me how to do this, that. And I was amazed once I got involved with it. And, you know, this year I had put a couple names in. I have Kerry Tagawa's name in, and I also have Bill Wallace. They only put a few people in every year, and Arnold's there. It's a very closed meeting. There's probably maybe about 75 to 100 people in it. This year, fortunate enough, which would be my honor because I never had it, I'm going to sit down and have time to spend with Muhammad Ali. He's a guy, you know, God bless him. He's been sick, but he's one of the recipients this year. So I'm going to have the honor to be with people like that myself. So it's a great honor, and I'm still kind of shaking my head wondering how the hell I got involved with it. But, you know, thank God.
Alan, it all comes down to how you are and what you've done. You know, you minimize your contribution to the world of martial arts. But I'm never going to minimize that because I know what you've done. I know what you're doing. I know what you continue to do. You're a very dear friend of mine. You're like my brother, my older brother. And, you know, I'm always going to make sure that the world knows what you've done, what you continue to do.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. Really
and that's all right. Let's let people know the website is actionmagstore.com where they can go and they can register and everything.
Right, actionmagstore.com. They can register for even for the event, the banquet, the dinner, or anything's up there. They can get all the information, or they can give me a call at 718-856-8070. I will take everyone's calls, and if you call me, I promise I return my calls within 24 hours.
Well, that's fantastic, and I urge everyone to participate. And you know, go in January. It's going to be an experience that you will thank us for on the Action Martial Arts Power Hour. You'll thank us for pushing you and talking so much about it this episode. All right, but with that said, Wikipedia Joe, thank you for coming on the show and throwing in your knowledge and your information. That's always welcome. You know, Alan, you know, as always, you're an awesome guy, and you know, you are, and I'm gonna say it, you are a legend in the world of martial arts. I'm saying it now. Mark it down. That's the way it is. But do we have anything in closing?
Well, I just want to thank you. I'll call him Kempo Joe. You call him.
Thank you. I'm looking on Facebook. Where's Wikipedia Joe? I can't find it anywhere.
Wikipedia Joe.
So, but anyway, folks, I appreciate everyone listening in. I mean, the show's getting some great response, great reviews, and we want people to be involved. It's not a closed-door session. It's an open-door session for everybody. And I just want to thank my co-hosts and my partner, Lou, and God bless. Listen, I know next week we have one show, but Thanksgiving is coming up. I think we should just thank what we have already, and we're not on the unfortunate end of that storm that came through. But I think as American people and even people from overseas have all put together and tried to make this a little less problematic for people that have gotten involved that way. So thanks again.
Thank you, Alan. Thank you, Joe. And we'll be back next Tuesday, and we'll be making an announcement as far as who the guest is going to be. So look at it at actionmaxstore.com. Check it out on UCWmagazine.com Action Martial Arts Power Hour.html. If you can remember that, then more power to you. But you can go to UCW Magazine. You can click on the link that takes you to the Power Hour. You can listen to the episodes there. You can check out the new graphics and a lot of awesome stuff happening. Guys, thank you again, and I look forward to having you on next Tuesday.
Thank you. See you next week.
All right, John.
You're listening to UCW Radio in your face.
If you try to remember, you will lose. Empty your mind. Be formless, shapeless, like water.
All the fighters that ever set foot on this planet, I'm the only world champion, United States national champion. I'm a two-time national kata champion. I was never beaten in kata. Be proud of it.
The Action Martial Arts Power Hour.